want that figure like this. Hands against, if you put your hands against your sides like this, what does that make you feel like? Don't you feel off balance, uncomfortable, like not grounded, right? Like all of this, I don't feel like, this is where I feel most like open and alive, and I'm here and I'm part of the here. But if I'm like this, I can be blown over at any second. I do not feel stable. And so Lauren has taken the opportunity of this wall to get that message across by putting the figure in there. Yeah, Sayele.
When I look at her hands like off to the side, I think of like vulnerability, because like you're just leaving everything just open for everyone to look at and dissect.
So you feel vulnerable with that, absolutely. And if that's what I'm telling you, if that's what you feel when you look at this, that's where I want you to go with in your paper. Like, make that your starting point, and then where else do I see it playing out? So if we want to talk about that, look at the eyes. A person who is really sure of themselves, they make eye contact, don't they? If you're looking straight down at the ground, you do not have self-confidence, most likely. You don't want to see the world, and you clearly do not want the world to see you. Most, I know when I was a kid and I felt uncomfortable, I kept my bangs over my right eye, like always covered. I'm going to look at the world when I choose to look at them, if I look at my own hair, right? You're going to see me when I decide you can see me by moving my own hair. So that, for me, is the eye contact. So all of this is just loaded with this, and then the hands. Let's look at Case. Does everyone see now, Corey, why the hands? Case, look, Corey, look to your left. Why the hands are so far off to the right? Because this is the viewpoint. This, people driving are the ones that are going to see this, and might be curious about that. Hands tell a lot. What do those hands say? For me, I have a sister who has RA. She's in constant pain. Her hands and joints are deformed, and I feel that sense of deformity, uncomfortability, tension. That's what I feel when I look at this. And then you can take it all the way down to the black water, and sitting on that toad that can come up at any time and knock you back. The other thing, here's a new term I'm going to introduce to you. It's another Italian term, chiaroscuro. So, or not chiaroscuro, contrapposto. Contrapposto means counterposed. So, like when Michelangelo sculpted David, which we're going to look at when we get into Renaissance, they started making hips going up like this. When I was in school, my teachers told me, when you're at Starbucks, do you stand like this, like the Egyptians, or do you stand like this, like the Renaissance Italian artists? He's like, I stand like this. This is called contrapposto. We see that playing out through the dress, don't we? Because she's wearing that dress, this little girl is wearing this, and this is a traditional Asian dress as well. Because she's wearing that dress, Lauren wants you to get a sense, further highlighting that instability by showing the skeletal underneath of those hips coming up. So one hip is raised above the other one, which is further amplifying this sense of uncomfortability, tension, not being stable, and all of that. Okay? So, if you choose this mural, it is really important. If you want to look, if you do research on Hawaii, if you do research on the style of the dress that she's wearing, that's when I'm going to ask you to cite your source. If you do any research at all, even if you go to Instagram and you find something that Lauren said on Instagram and you want to implement it in your paper, all you have to say is that you went on the artist's Instagram page, here's the link, and I discovered X, Y, and Z. Okay? You don't have to do, but if you do research on the dress and on Hawaii, I definitely need those sources. Okay? So if you're not familiar with how to cite a source, ask me. Also, one more thing that somebody highlighted a couple of weeks ago, Seija, your instructor, never discovered, noticed, put together the colors in the background. somebody did like a couple weeks ago. That's the transgender flag pink envelope. So Lauren is further reinforcing who they are in this composition. There is a push and pull about identity happening. Okay? So that is that for this. So again, with this one, I want photographs of the trees. I want you to incorporate what is around the mural to really, really make that impact of this, that this figure is tall, like really tall. And also part of that mushroom is a mushroom, look at how it's dripped on the cheek. That is making a connection between that little girl and that possible psychedelic mushroom that is growing out of that nasty black water, because you see the stem behind the Band-Aid in the leg, which also, for me, I would take that Band-Aid with that mushroom stem and I would go to town just on those two. So there's so much here that you can unpack. Huh?
Could the mushroom be phallic?
It could be, absolutely. Mushroom could be phallic, Corey asked, absolutely.